Hello, we're Pine Ridge Apparel. We're hoping to convince the board that outsourcing production and sourcing materials in another country, in this case America, specifically Texas, would be beneficial to the company. Just like to start by just going over who we are. We're a small-sized clothing enterprise based in the UK. We're hoping to capitalise on the recent boom in success of other American clothing brands like Hollister and Abercrombie. We're a lifestyle brand, mainly selling the sort of idea of America through the clothing, and we're hoping that we can follow the long history of success of American brands like Levi's and things in the UK, and capitalise on their success. So, moving on, we think Texas would be an ideal place to base our production facilities. This is because Texas is the largest cotton producing state, and because of that the cotton's very cheap, it's easy to buy in bulk, and it would be beneficial to produce the clothing on site, just to save transportation costs, and also to help build the brand image, as American clothes built in America. There's been a long history of a strong economic relationship between the UK and the US, so trade between the two countries would be very easy to set up. And the Dallas-Fort Worth economy is actually one of the largest in the States, and it's growing exponentially, which I'll go on to later in a bit more details. Also, Texas is well connected on shipping routes through the Gulf to the UK, which would mean shipping products back to the UK for retail sale would be low cost, and the benefits of shipping the finished product as opposed to the raw material, although we could save on shipping by sending bulk batches of clothing to keep up with demand, rather than shipping raw material based upon demand projections. Texas is also well connected for air freight, should it be required, although this tends to be a bit more costly. Just a brief history of cotton in Dallas. Cotton was first produced in the 1700s by Spanish missionaries. Since then, the industry's experienced steady growth, which now places Texas as the top cotton producing state, and it exports cotton en masse, especially to Japan and South Korea. Texas produces approximately 25% of the country's cotton crop on 9,000 square miles of cotton fields. We after analysing all the cotton producing states like California, Arizona, Mississippi, Florida and Texas, we came to the conclusion that Texas offered the best combination of the amount of cotton produced, ease of access to buying in bulk, and proximity to London on the shipping routes through the Gulf. Another important thing to mention is there's no state income tax, which could be beneficial for our employees. And just moving on a little bit about the Dallas-Fort Worth economy. It was actually ranked the best place to start a business in the United States. The 8th best place. But that was based on how easy it would be to set up a company and things like that. So it wouldn't necessarily be very difficult to outsource to there. Plus the comparative cultures of the two countries, the UK and the US, would mean we wouldn't really need to adjust management styles or have too much extra training and languages and things, because there's no language barrier, which would make it quite an easy transition. Dallas-Fort Worth economy has the 3rd largest concentration of Fortune 500 companies in the country, and last year it had the 2nd highest economic surge out of any city in America. Also, jobs are moving to Texas, so there's an abundance of cheap labour. For example, in the last 20 years, 4 million more people left California than moved to California, and about a third of them ended up in Texas. So there's a real abundance of cheap labour, which would be beneficial to our company. So just a quick comparison between the UK and the US. They've always had a close economic relationship. There's good trade links. There's there's no real barriers to trade. We share the world's largest foreign direct investment partnership. Another important point to mention, specifically for our company, is the minimum wage in Texas is $7.25 per hour, as opposed to £6.31 in the UK. So over time we could save money through the exchange rate, because $7.25 works out to about £4.50. So over time that would be beneficial, because we'd be paying our employees slightly less, but still be complying to the laws. There's some definite cultural similarities as well between the two countries. Of course, the language barrier being non-existent is one of the major reasons we're attracted to Texas, but also because the work week runs in a similar way, with a 40-hour average, roughly 8.4 hours per week. 8.4 hours per day for the average full-time employee. Because of the lack of differences, there wouldn't be much of a culture shock, which would mean it would be easier to send staff abroad, should we want to actually send UK staff over to manage the American side of things. Yeah, I'd like to move on now to Christopher, who's going to talk about our idea and the comparison of the two countries according to some scholarly examples. Thank you.